In a world where things can change in the blink of an eye, how does any company, any organization really stay prepared? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful discipline that's designed to do just that, scenario analytics. And here's the key. It's not about predicting one single future, it's about getting ready for any future. And really, it all boils down to this one simple question. What if? What if our main supplier in Asia has a total shutdown tomorrow? Or what if some stealthy startup we've never even heard of suddenly launches a product that makes ours look ancient? Or even, what if interest rates totally double next quarter? These aren't just late-night worries. They are the potential realities that can honestly make or break a business.
And this is how you start to answer that question. Scenario analytics is how you systematically and with data tackle all those what-ifs. So forget the crystal ball, okay? This is all about using data to build a strategic map. It's a method for actually mapping out multiple possible futures, figuring out what their impact would be, and then creating a playbook so you're ready to act, not just react, no matter which one of those futures actually happens.
So, how does this all actually work? What's going on behind the scenes? Let's pop the hood for a minute and look at the core analytics engine that really powers this whole process. These are the tools that help us turn those vague possibilities into something we can actually measure and plan around. Okay, so at its most basic level, you've got two core techniques. First, there's what-if analysis. It's the simplest. You just tweak a variable, right? Like you change the price in a spreadsheet, and you immediately see the impact on your profit. But simulation modeling, oh man, that's where things get really powerful. We are literally talking about building a digital twin of a real-world system, like your entire supply chain, so you can safely stress test it and watch how it holds up under all kinds of crazy conditions. Now, when things get even more complex and unpredictable, we need even smarter tools. A Monte Carlo simulation is all about understanding risk. Just imagine rolling a pair of dice thousands and thousands of times to see every possible outcome. That's what Monte Carlo does for, say, a financial model or a project timeline. Agent-based modeling, on the other hand, is all about behavior. It simulates how thousands of individual agents, like customers in a market, make their own decisions. This is incredible because it helps you see how all those tiny individual choices can bubble up and create massive, system-wide trends.
All right, so that's the theory, but where does the rubber meet the road? Let's take a look at how these powerful tools are actually getting put to work in the real world across pretty much every part of an organization you can think of. And you can just see how flexible this is. For the strategy team, it's basically a corporate war game, right? They're asking, how will our biggest competitor react if we launch this new product in their home market? For finance, it's all about pushing the business to its limits to find the breaking points. Can we actually survive another global recession? And for the operations folks, it's about building a fortress against disaster, whether that's a massive cyber attack or a critical port getting shut down. Yeah, let's just stick with that operations example for a second, because it's huge. Instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping a crisis doesn't happen, you can actually simulate a complete and total supply chain collapse. You can pinpoint the exact supplier, the single shipping route, or the one warehouse that is your single point of failure, and then you can go and strengthen it before it ever costs you millions. That's the kind of proactive power we're talking about.
And really, the applications are pretty much endless. I mean, think about the questions you could answer. How will new environmental regulations impact our manufacturing costs? What's the best way to roll out this new AI technology across the company? How do we plan our hiring today for the skills we're going to need 5 years from now? Scenario analytics can give you a solid, data-driven way to tackle all of these critical questions.
So, you've run all the models. You've generated a dozen possible futures. Now what? Because here's the thing. You can end up with a mountain of data, but data alone doesn't tell you what to do. This next stage is absolutely critical. It's about turning all that raw output into clear, actionable intelligence that leaders can actually understand and use.
And see, it's a real process, not just some one-off report. First, you've got to compare all those possible futures side by side to really understand the trade-offs. Then, you put the key insights on dynamic dashboards so leaders can see the whole picture at a glance. The best systems even let you adjust the scenarios in real time as new information comes in. And the whole thing is wrapped in strong governance, which makes it a reliable, consistent part of how the company makes big decisions.
So after all of that, what's the one big idea here? What's the big takeaway? Why does all of this matter so much? Let's just boil it all down.
This is it. This right here is the whole philosophy in a nutshell. Scenario analytics is not about being a fortune teller. It is about building organizational muscle.
It's about developing the resilience, the agility, and the strategic foresight to be ready for many possible futures, so that no matter what happens, you're not just reacting, you're already prepared.
So I want to leave you with one final thought. As you think about your own team, your own company, ask yourself this question, honestly. What is the one what if that you know deep down you aren't truly ready for? Because finding that answer, that's the very first step toward building a much more resilient and much more successful future.